Dear Twin Flame souls out there, welcome to the Twin Flame Awakening Journey podcast, and today is in episode 179. Welcome back and welcome if you are new here. In that sense that if you are listening to this podcast on YouTube, it has never been more appreciated to have your like or your subscribe or your connection than ever before. I will explain that in a minute when we're gonna go into today's episode. But in today's episode, we are going to talk about, again, the famous so-called twin flame union, the higher self, the connection with a higher self. And let me walk you through of how to become a higher self, what is the connection between the union and the twin flame and the connection over there, and why we should be focusing on this. And right before we're going to dive into, let me ask you something. And I really want you to actually sit here, and before you're going to have the answer in your head, just answer me one question. When did you last time you truly felt like yourself? Not a version of you that is waiting for someone to come back, or your twin flame to return, or something is there. And not the version of you that checks the messages at 2 a.m. or constantly trying to figure it out the last scene. Not the version of you that has rehearsed the conversation in your mind thousands and thousands of times. Now let me ask you, when was the last time you really felt the real you? The one that existed way before you met your twin flame and everything blew open in your heart, in your mind, in your soul, in your universe. Something changed and shifted. So when was the last time you felt the real you? Was it when you were 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 7-year-old, where you felt connected and divine with everything? We're gonna walk through that step by step today and realizing why is the twin flame journey and what it's going to teach you. Because one of the things on this twin flame space that we have out here, there are things that nobody's really saying. And I need to deliver it. I need to say it. Because somehow I lived it, and it really took me quite some time to understand it. That the things you are searching for in them, the wholeness, the home, the recognition, the love, it was never in them. And that is a very, very tricky part. I know that in a way of this twin flame space, you can hear a lot about you are in a union when you are with your twin. And then our mind predicts that I don't have that person, I am not in the union. And I really need to say that we need to redefine what is a union. Because union is not another person. The union is not when you have something else in your life. And the union is not a relationship. And these things are completely different. You can have a twin flame relationship, absolutely. But the union is within you. And why I talk about the union and higher self and all of this, why? Because when you are in a so-called union within you, you attract everything the best in your life, the opportunities, the people you're going to meet, the moments you're going to create, and it all feels like a flow. You're feeling like you're flowing instead of resisting to the next stage. And as I said, that when you are looking for the wholeness, the home, we all know that when we had that very first meeting, you felt home. You felt you have arrived somewhere you didn't know it existed. But it was never in them. It was always you. It was reflected back to you so perfectly that you took the mirror for the source. So the other person is that, but the source is you, the God is you, the universe is you, you are the higher self. And today I really want to take you somewhere very real. And we are going to talk about what the higher self actually is and not the Instagram version, not that I am better. Higher self is the one that is better than others and knows there's nothing to do with that. And of course, those of you who would like to have, in a way of Instagram version of mine, you can follow on Twin Flame Awakening Journey, I think 1111, something along the lines. And you can see there where it's in the slides where I've put it down. Because we are going to talk about the frequency. And I've said it millions and millions of times. Twin Flame Journey and every awakening and the human journey is based on frequency. So today I'm gonna put it down, the full map for you, every level, what it actually feels when we are stuck in each one of them. And why do I explain that? Because in a certain ways, we don't need to explain that because our soul knows. That's why you feel the longing. That's why you feel the pain. That's why you feel the confusion. But sometimes when we are able to give it to our mind, we are able to understand it a little bit deeper. But with an understanding is actually a conscious awareness. And I've spoken about this many times before, meaning of that, sometimes we read a book and we are like, or even listening to my podcast episodes. What was that? I disagree with this. This is nonsense. I didn't understand anything what she said. And then the time goes on and all of a sudden it clicks for you and you realize, oh, wait a minute. Now I understand. This is why it's the same in every part of this journey. It's not that we are going to understand everything and also what I share immediately. It took me years to understand it. It took me years to put into a frame that I could explain it. And one of the things with this Twin Flame journey is that I am not here to sell an illusion of a relationship. I'm not going to say that you can't be with your twin because that's a lie too. We have an infinite possibilities. But when we have a goal that I will be this when I have that and I will do this in my life, we are constantly in the energy of lack. And I'm going to talk about that in the frequency part of it. So why is it there? And of course, we're going to talk about what does the transmutation means in the real life and not in theory. And things that can really shift and change. There is a full so-called mini workshop that you can do by yourself and see what starts to change. And it's not based on a la-la land that I'll just tell you, do this and watch what happens. There is the full so-called neuroscience behind it, but there is also a spiritual part of what I have seen has changed and shifted. So by the end of today's episode, I want you to be able to look exactly where you are right now. Not where you want to be, but where you are actually. And then you will know precisely what is the next move. Because there is always a next move. And it never involves waiting for them. And also I'm going to give you something specific, as I said, to practice. And one thing that you can start to do it today. And that will actually shift the field between you. And it's not a theory, it's not something blah, blah, blah. You can really try it and see how it's going to change and shift your journey. And of course, talking of the workshops and all of that, on 17th of May on Patreon, you can again join via Zoom. We have a beautiful workshops. The previous one is out there. Every single workshop we do from now on is an addition to our Lionsgate coming up. So if you are really feeling in your heart that I want to live in a state of flow, I want to live in a state of love, not in a longing, not in a lack, not a feeling that when it's going to happen to me, how long I'm going to stay there, and I believe that is something for you. But now I'm going to, right before we're going to dive into today's fully of step-by-step what's going to be, I want to tell you that talking of all of the information, recently that has come across, and I didn't know that it's going to affect in a sense of our channel. That's why I say every single like, every single comment, how much the podcast has helped you, or maybe it has never helped you and more of it has triggered you. But in the recent times, YouTube has changed, if you're listening to this on a YouTube, has changed their policies. And I think their new AI, or however it is, has gone down to the point of demonetizing channels, even though I think they still run the ads. You can tell me if you're listening and there are ads on it. Because they demonetize the channel of calling it inauthentic. I think it's their new AI who tries to pull it down, the channels that have no face, for example, or so on, because I know there are about 30, 40 million accounts that have been demonetized at this moment. And as it's for me, it's not a problem at all. I don't, like I said, I think I never even withdrawn any money from there somehow. And it's not about that. I was, how do I say, I love giving, I love sharing. But the thing is that what I feel sometimes, we live in this world where as a content creators, or I don't call myself content creator, but are we going to be forced to put into a place for advertisers of saying, yeah, but now do the dopamine kind of posts and do the hook and do this and do that. And I'm just going to be very sorry here, but I will not go down this road. Twin Flame Journey podcast is about giving you the peace, giving you the connection, maybe also giving you a little bit of a trigger that you can disagree. But I am truly dedicated and connected to the fact of showing you the way to become a higher self. Meaning of actually you are the higher self, but the ego is just protecting and is afraid to let go of it. But I tell you, when you live from that higher self part, the magic will begin. So it's the same with the Twin Flame Journey podcast, that I've never ever made that it has to go viral and it has to go there. I don't use AI for it. I don't search for what is the right answer and what is this. None of this. It's a channeled channel, and that's why when we let something else decide what is truth and what is not truth, and for me it doesn't matter because I speak from the heart, and it's never anything to do with in the sense of monetized or demonetized. I'm just grateful when it is monetized because that gives me an opportunity to give more, share more. And if it's demonetized, it's the exact same thing. I give, I share what I have. But it's just the only thing that was there, that calling it inauthentic while there is a robot that can tell you a complete different illusion that might not be true at all. And we start believing that. And that's sad. But you are here for a reason. You are here to listen to your heart. You are here to connect to your source. And we're going to continue going from here, wherever it's going to take us, because the truth is from the heart. So let's start with the higher self, because I have this feeling that we use this word quite a lot, and it somehow started to mean nothing. It becomes pointless. Higher self. Oh, all right. And we use it like it's some sort of a very glowing version, or it's floating above you, or it's like drink more water, journal, you're more connected to the nature, I wear white, I am all of that. No, higher self has no these kind of things. The higher self is not above you. It's actually the deepest version of you. And here is why when we have our ego death on True Awakening, that is the crazy part that cracks you open and you feel like, what is this thing? Because this higher self is the deepest version of you, which exists beneath every wound, every story, every performance you have ever been running since you were, let's say, 7 or 8 or 9 years old, when you were trying to figure it out, how to be loved or what is love. And it's actually the part of you that has never been broken, even when it felt like this. Higher self is not broken. And here's the thing about the twin flame journey, that somehow we never say it out loud, that your twin is not your path to the higher self. Your twin is the mirror that showed you how far you had drifted from it. And I've said that a million times on my podcast. Please do not, and there is nothing wrong in the beginning when we do it, but please do not do any workshop, any meditation, any connection, because you want them back. You're going to have a longer separation from there on, because you're doing it from the place, I don't have them, so I'm gonna do something to have them. Very simple math. So now just think about that when you met first this person, when you met the person first. You felt the recognition, you felt the pull, you feeling that I know you from somewhere that isn't this life or somewhere else. But what you were actually seeing was yourself. The part of you that had lost complete access to it. The love, being alive, the depth. And that actually wasn't coming from them. That was all in you. And they were just holding a mirror in front of you, clean enough that you would see, oh, that's me there. That's the person I have lost. And now I want to go back to it. But then also the mirror showed you something completely else. It showed you every single wound you were still carrying. Every place you didn't feel worthy. Patterns that weren't serving you. Because that was the perfect mirror does. It shows you everything, not only the good part. The light and the dark, they always play together. And for most of us, when we see that, we don't look inward. We start to reach for the mirror. We try to get closer to the mirror to have that feeling again. We go closer to the mirror. We need to go back to the mirror to see it. And then the mirror pulls away. And we can call it runner, chaser dynamic, however we call it on this twin flame journey. But what it is actually, it's the person is running from their own reflection. And another person chasing a feeling they don't believe they can have it within themselves. And when you are actually chasing for your twin flame, you're not chasing them. You're literally chasing the parts of yourself that you can only see when you look at them. And to be honest, the only way to stop chasing is to go and find that part of yourself directly, without them. You have to go and find it. And now I know how it sounds. I understand when you're here and you're like, I don't understand, what do you mean? Because what your mind will do at this moment is that I know someone, I know this connection, but you actually don't understand this connection. You don't understand what I feel. I do understand. I went through every single piece, every single piece. Because the connection is real, no doubt. The intensity is real. But the intensity that is happening inside of you. It is your energy. It is your frequency. It doesn't mean we can't feel the other person's energy and frequency. Totally we can. But this is a good understanding when we're realizing it is my energy, it is my frequency. So this is the good news. And that's where we can change every single thing on this journey. So let's talk about the wonderful frequency. Because this is where a lot of spiritual stories actually fall apart. It tells you that raise your frequency, raise your vibration, and you will feel very good, you know. And also, you don't know where you are at. So today we're going to walk through every single frequency we have. I bring you the example, and I bring you how you can transmute it. And from there, you know what is the next step. You have to do it. So in a way, we are going to use a human consciousness map based on the research. And on that, I'm just going to bring it in a little bit because another day I was reading about it. And so I was putting it down for a little bit to connect and, of course, to share with you, as I am very curious about it. What is our consciousness? Of course, we have very little answers. That's why, again, connecting to your heart, connecting to the higher self, connecting to the field is where we're going to get the answers. And the answers, and here comes a lot of in where I say about that the information out there can be really, I don't want to use the word harmful because I believe everything helps us. But when we're going to repeat something over and over and over again, for example, union is when you are with this other person. I am in twin flame union because I have my twin. And then the ego fights there saying, oh, they are in a union, they are not, look at this, look at that, and over and over and over again. Because in reality, you want to actually live from the state of flow where everything's going to align to you. So that one, what we're going to use right now is that in a certain ways of the scale that we are using is that the human emotional states are in a somehow like an algorithmical or rhythmical scale, meaning the scale goes from 100 to 1000. So, and which means the difference between 200 and 300 is not 100 points. It is 10 to the 100th power. And these are not small moves. Every genuine shift in frequency is you like explode. And why I want to talk about this so badly, because often on this journey, and as a human myself as well, we think we can skip the frequencies and nothing's going to happen. Every single time we make a frequency shift, our body also feels it. So there are going to be emotions. You're going to feel a lot of things. You might feel tired. You might feel sick, all of that. And I've, of course, explained this a lot on the retreats and workshops and all of that kind of things, that having so-called negative shift is not actually negative shift. We have to realize you just charged your body again to the higher. And I'm going to walk you through what are they, and I'm going to post this also on Instagram, here on YouTube shorts and everywhere where you can see it. Because of when you realize that it's not just, our bodies are not just, I don't know, what you say, flesh and blood and just like that. And if we make a shift in our body, nothing's going to happen. That's not true. And and as I'm going through this full map, and I ask you in the beginning the question, when was the last time you were you? And it really take yourself back to it. And I'm going to go from the bottom up because I think it's important to be honest about what is the bottom actually. And I really want you to listen without judgment, without going into the place of putting the ego layer around you and protecting, of saying, no, I'm not there. I'm already there. I'm feeling blissful. I'm feeling all of this. I invite you to have an open heart and maybe a little bit of a silence after the podcast. Because if you're really, truly looking for the oneness, the unity consciousness, the one within that your twin can return, then this is important. And like I said, not without any judgment, because most of us have lived every single one of these levels at some point in our life. And none of them mean that you are broken or bad person or you don't know how to live and oh my God, look at you, how could you even be like this? None of this is true. They are just frequencies. And when we understand the frequencies, we are becoming a master. So, I begin with the first one. And I'm going to tell you, it's a hard one. At the bottom, the level 20 is so-called shame. It's not embarrassment, it's not guilt. So it's the shame. And shame is the frequency of I should not exist. And it's somehow the belief that something is fundamentally wrong with you at the core level. We also have a suicidal thoughts over here. I'm not going to step on this because it's a very, very, I would say if you have any suicidal thoughts, anything very intense, please seek a professional help very quickly. You will be able to shift that. All you need is help here. So at the bottom of the level 20 is where the deepest wounds are there. And on Twin Flame Journey, that reason that can be also be triggered you very, very hard because it's cracked open a shame wound that was already there. And it was long before they arrived, but you learned to cope with that. Again, here I'm going to really say that is a frequency where seeking professional help is very much needed. If you feel I am pointless, why am I living on this earth? I don't want to live on this earth anymore. Please seek the help as soon as possible. That's not true. Now it's time to transmute the energy of shame as soon as possible. Please do not stay on it. And I'm just going to give you a few tips here, but again, I'm going to tell you, please look for the professional help. So shame, how does it feel like? Humiliation, self-hatred, wanting to disappear. And the world feels like it's watching and judging you. And it's a frequency of, I am fully broken here. I don't want to live. I don't want to be alive. So now, what can keep you there? Early childhood rejection or any kind of abuse, religion or culture that says that you are unworthy. Other people have been mean to you, rude to you when you were a child. Let's say you were bullied, you were this, you were that. Or also you are hiding yourself in your own home. You're afraid to go out. You're afraid to connect to. And because when you become visible, that means that that's it. That's the end. I don't want anyone to know me. And shame is a very, very strong energy. And as again I say, if you feel any of this, seek for help as soon as possible. So how do we transmute the shame into the guilt? As the first step up. And I want to stop here. That graphic, what we're seeing over here, is not about we cannot skip the steps. All right. So I said 20 is shame. The next is 30 is guilt. We have to there is no such a thing that we're gonna go from shame to love. It doesn't work like that. And those of you who've been through the intense ego death know very well that every single layer you're gonna feel alive. So I'll just bring it in very simple examples. But when you are at the level of shame today, again, I'm going to repeat that. Please seek for help. Because it's a very low vibration where having support is very much needed. So in a way of what I would not do it over here would be isolating myself more, consuming information that is not true, a meaning of that somebody tells you, yes, you should be this way, you should be that now. Now start feeling gratitude, now start feeling love, which of course you will hear over here as well. But I tell you, it's a process. So every of them are going, shame is going to transmute into guilt. And now you'll be thinking, what? Why? But that's how frequency works. We do not shift overnight into something else. It doesn't work like that. There's a lower frequencies and higher frequencies. So we're going to get into all of this. So, for example, you can do, if you're listening today, you can go into and say, I feel shame about it. What I feel. You can write about, what do I feel shame about? Just name it out loud or write it down. What do I feel shame about it? One of the things what you can do. And then another very beautiful thing that you can do today, even though, as I said, please seek for help. Place one hand on your chest. Just be very, very gentle and say to yourself, I deserve to exist. Even this painful part, even this longing, I deserve to exist. I deserve to exist. And really repeat it until you feel it lands in your body, you feel connected. So, and they are all connected. I bring a very interesting part of it, but we go into the next state of the frequency, and that's a frequency 30 and means guilt. I had guilt. Until today, you can sometimes notice when you are around me how I apologize for everything. I'm aware of that, but I go very quickly. Even if it wasn't my fault, I say, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't do anything. Let's say somebody else bumps into me and I would go, oh, I'm really sorry. But it wasn't me. Guilt is something that we might feel that I've done something unforgivable. But always the guilt is not meaning when you be growing up as a children, for example, and your mother or father or sister or brother, whoever in your life can blame you for something. They can say, you did that. So remorse, self-blame, and you replay the thing that you did. And somehow feeling that you need to be punished feels that this is deserved. And you, in that state, you might be unconsciously create situations where others will punish you. So the universe punishes you because you're unconsciously playing this role. And I remember that even for me, just to talk about guilt, I was very much in the state of whatever's going to happen, it's my fault. So a lot of things happened. Let's say it happened to my friend, or happened to this, or happened to my partner, or happened to my mother, or happened to whoever. I felt I'm responsible for that. So I tried to fix everything. And that's also was a part of me why I say that, now think of that, wait a minute. You were in the 30 frequency. Oh, that's bad frequency. Yes. I was in one of the lowest frequencies. I would say that I think I dropped down all the way to the shame as well. Because I felt so broken. I felt I don't know what comes next anymore. And when the pain got so hard, I lifted up my hands and I said, well, God, if that's a twin flame journey or whatever journey it is, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to follow you. And I did follow every single step. Until today. So the guilt, and that's also what can keep you in a guilt, is that belief that suffering is, you are good when you suffer. That's a good thing, that I need to suffer. I need to feel pain. I need to feel the loneliness. That's a good thing. You don't have the ability to separate the regret from the identity. And others who use your guilt can control you. That was one of the things for me, because everybody knew that I will fix everything, and so they had power over me. And you do not forgive yourself. You play that over and over and over inside of you. And just right now, what popped into my consciousness was that when we are talking about it, you'll be thinking, but what's that's important? Why we need to talk about these frequencies? I don't understand it. I don't have anything to do with that. I just want to use the relationship techniques to get my so-called twin flame back. So I'm going to remove them. I'm not going to talk to them. I'm going to play these games. And I tell you, these games can take you to a certain point. But if you are looking to live from the life where you stop any kind of patterns, where you are stepping into the state of flow, where things can flow to you, then here are your answers. So when we are going to now transmute the guilt into apathy. Apathy. How do I pronounce that? Apathy. Oh my God, Jesus Christ, help me. Okay, you will see that. So apathy. Apathy. It's so weird to say that. And now I'm going to tell you from here. So when we're going to do shame, guilt, and we're going to go to this apathy. Oh my God. Thank God. Apathy. Yay. You start going upwards. You're going to go much in a way of boom, boom, boom. So the lowest are shame and the guilt. They are very heavy. And here I'm going to say, if you feel any of this, seek for help. This is my number one response. So you could ask how you're going to transmute. Is this guilt teaching me something, or it's just punishing me? Am I punishing myself over and over and over and over again? Or am I punishing myself? Make, in a sense of action break loops where you feel that, I'm doing this again, I stop it now. Of course, forgiveness. Forgiveness comes here very strongly. In a way of anything you have ever failed. And I know with the forgiveness, we go into the state of, I don't want to forgive my twin. I don't want to forgive this person. Look what they have done to me. But when you don't forgive, you are going to repeat it. So forgive yourself and others and do it for 30 days. And somehow look around, notice who will benefit from your guilt. That relationship that needs a boundary or however. Just notice over there. All right, now we're getting to the next frequency, which I said, and that's already 50. And this is apathy. Yeah, not apathy, whatever I said. Apathy. You learn something sometimes. This is a bit of a, and many of you have been on this place. And this is this, I call this gray area now. So I said, the shame and the guilt, boom, we are broken. That's just the place where we are at the rock bottom, done, over there. But now you're coming to this gray area, and I've spoken about this. And any of you who are in the gray area at this moment, the next steps are important for you. You feel completely flat over here. No motivation, no hope, no energy. The life feels gray and completely pointless. You kind of know what you should do, and you feel nothing about it. And there you are, just floating. And what keeps you there is that your repeated failure with no support. So you start something, you go into, and then you stop. And here, when we are in this time, again, I would say that one of the most important part to think to do is exactly energy work. Because now you are going into, like you are coming to the other side. So any kind of energy work, whether it's Reiki, breath work, deep meditations, Kundalini activations, like energy activations with me or with anybody else, whoever you feel connected to. So here it also comes in that you're starting to isolate and you're starting to cut off any external energy input. Like you're starting to be on your own. And it's a very strange time, and can be also coming down to the depression. The body starts to shut down, you don't feel, and you start to believe that every effort is pointless. But now, I said to you, this is a very important part if you feel in this frequency. You need external energy first in order to go from apathy to grief, to start feeling again. You've been thinking, oh my God, I was in this gray area and now I'm going to go to the grief. What? Thank you for that. I'm not here to torture you. Your twin flame is, okay, kidding. I'm here to show you that these steps that we have to go through are necessary, and don't bypass them. Don't go in from guilt to, yes, I'm so in love, I'm so connected, I'm so happy, look at me. And you skip all of it in between. It doesn't work like that. And after many years on this twin flame journey, I've seen this over and over again. So that's why I say, if you can have a therapy, please go to the therapy. Also, I am a very big fan of energy work. For me, was Reiki and breath work and Kundalini. These were the three things that changed me, including talking in my sessions. So all of this included. We all have our own ways, but it's a part of it. So I said this, when you are in the gray area right now, in this apathy, you need external energy first. So find one person, video, book, or spark, or song that gives you anything. Even if it's a flickering of a sadness or irritation, that will help you, that will get the energy moving. This is why I call my podcast that it can give you a peace. It can give you understanding. It can give you love. It can give you an activation, actually. My voice can give you an activation. Many of you have said that to me. But it also can irritate you. It can also trigger you. And it can also do certain things that you don't like. But that's okay. Because of, like I said, it will shift and change. Now do any smallest possible action, not a habit, one action. Make one drink, walk to the window, just start feeling safe. The nervous system of yours needs to feel that, all right, I am safe. Get some sunlight, very powerful. 30 minutes walking, going over there. This is very, very important. And now allow the grief to arrive. Apathy is often actually the grief that has been frozen, or it's an ice. So that ice starts to melt now because for so long you didn't want to feel. Ay. Oh, me. I was a master of not feeling. And when now the numbers, and this is a very part of it where many of you feel I'm moving backwards. That's it, that's over. No, this is where everything cracks open and the sadness comes. Please don't push it away. This is the sadness that is going to wake you up and welcome it. Whether we like it or we don't. I really gonna tell you that this is a make it or break it. Many times when I see that people will come to the sessions or retreats or workshops and they're very positive, they're like, life is good, I feel so good. That used to be me, 100% me. Never showing that there is a deeper layer of me. Let me show you the happy, the strong, amazing person of mine. Well, surprise, surprise. When I worked with an energy, it cracked me open and I wasn't there. So I had to sit with that. And I know that when people come to the session with me and they have the same, I say, okay, when I hear that they are going to go, it's going to crack them open, there's going to be sadness, there's going to be numbness, there's going to be a loss. And that is okay, because now we are moving towards the deeper layer to your higher self. Being positive, happy, puppy, all of that is not spirituality. Living and letting go is spirituality. Don't buy the Instagram bubble. It's beautiful for a moment, beautiful moments, because it's like poetry and music and all of that. It's beautiful, but if you're ready to become your higher self, and you're listening to this podcast right now, then these are the steps, my dear. These are the steps. And sometimes it takes a month, a year, 2, but you will never, ever lose if you stay in there. So, as I said, allow the grief to happen. Time to cry. Time to feel it deeply. Now we are arriving to the next one, and this is the energy frequency of 75, meaning grief. I have lost something irreplaceable. So now you're going to feel deep sadness, loss, dependency, regret. And now you can still really feel it, which is already higher frequency than apathy. Apathy. Jesus Christ, what's wrong with me? And now the world is going to be feeling, you're going to feel everything that is gone. And this is the twin flame separation frequency that often happens now. This is where we feel the full separation pain in grief. And I always say, we don't step away from the grief. It's needed. It's not, we don't say, if somebody tells you, just be positive and don't think of them and block them and don't feel it and don't think of them and don't obsess them. This is a mind game. Your frequency tells a completely different, and the world is based on a frequency, whether you like it or not. So what will keep you here is unprocessed loss. When you are not sitting with the grief. And now you'll be thinking to my podcast today, why you're making me to suffer? Why do you want me to go through that hell? I don't want you to go through the hell. But without processing this, unfortunately, we're going to lie to ourselves. And so what's going to keep us in the grief is that, like I said, we don't process the loss, the person, the identity, the future, because you had some ideas and we don't now deal with that. And we're going to idolize everything that was lost. We think that that's what I had, was the best thing I ever had. That's where I used to be. That was my life. That was all I had, and now I have nothing. You don't know what's coming. And I have a little secret to tell you. The magic will come. The magic will come. Do you hear me? The magic will come. And here is also what keeps you in this loop is no ritual or container for the grief. Again, I'm going to come into that's where the healing really comes in. Therapy, healing, moving your body, connecting to it. Grief is very, very intense. And we believe that grief is treated as a weakness. We believe that if I am now sad and crying here over my twin flame and my broken heart, and I feel my life is falling apart, that this is a bad thing. My dear, you're the strongest. You're 10 times stronger than me. 20 times stronger than me. Because I sat in silence and I was afraid that if somebody sees me broken, sad, in a way I was like a ghost, then they're gonna judge me, so I have to be strong. And I dealt with grief back and forth, back and forth. So how do we deal with the grief of going from grief into a fear where energy is beginning to move? So grief is a container. You need to sit with that. I've said that millions of times. 20 minutes a day where you can really feel it, you can feel it. Cry, write, speak out loud, and then close the container. And that helps you to stop the grief from leaking into all hours. Although, if it's in the beginning, let it all happen, but don't make it as an identity. Try to start naming what you are actually grieving, what is actually there, what is all about it. And often it's not the person. It is the version of yourself you were with them, or the future you try to imagine. So name that specifically. Connect to this. Move the body. Very important during the grief. Because the grief lives in a chest and a throat. So any kind of shaking, walking, swimming, any physical movement. Again, I'm going to come here. Yoga, meditation, all of this, like Kundalini yoga is very powerful. Yin yoga, very powerful. Let this grief move, because the grief can lock into your nervous system. And ask yourself, what does the grief really reveal that I truly value? Grief is a love with nowhere to go. So redirect that love towards yourself and what you're going to build. So, and we're going to move into our final one today. We're going to continue this part because we are just in the beginning. So the second and the third part of this podcast episode are going to come out in each Sunday. If you would like to know how to move for the next level, how to shift your frequency, feel free to, of course, subscribe, like, and stay over here. As I said, somehow your support is never been more important than now, because of YouTube says, oh, it's an inauthentic, we're going to demonetize, which is fine, absolutely fine. I will continue always doing it. But it's just, how do I say, when we let an information that is produced by AIs, that we let the information that is produced to keep your dopamine high, keep going, that's what the world we're going to live in. And you make that conscious decision. So the next one is the fear. So you might start feeling now the fear. And you thought you felt the fear before. So I'm confused now. No, these were other energies. The world is dangerous and I might not survive it. So now you might have anxiety. You feel paranoia. You feel withdrawal. The nervous system is really on a fight and flight. You start to see threats everywhere. You feel that this is never going to happen. Oh my God, will never happen. Look, my twin is with somebody else. Look, this would happen. And you are feeling very, very dangerous. Like the relationship within you and everything feels dangerous. And this is, I always say, do not make any decisions on the fear or an emotion on that frequency. So this is where the twin flame chaser energy often is. It's terrified of abandonment. The fear energy 100, terrified of abandonment. And what's going to keep you here is unresolved trauma. The body learned that the danger is okay. Environments that confirm fear. Anxious attachment styles. And catastrophic thinking loops. We all know that. Looking and looking and looking and looking. And how are we going to transmute the fear into desire? Energy for movement is to regulate your nervous system. So here we have now arrived to the point of we're starting to work on the nervous system. So not the thirds, we're starting to work on the nervous system. Any kind of, I said I've done holotropic breath work, Kundalini activations, all of this will help you calm down the fear. Start to name the fears that you have. I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of that. Because when you are, somehow your nervous system can only solve what has a name. That's why we need to talk, we need to make sense, we need to have it. Your soul doesn't, all of that doesn't matter, but your soul does. And now start to do the things that you feared. Step by step, we need to face the fears. And also ask yourself, what does the fear protecting you from? Because fear has a job. And try to find the wound that is guarding. So from here on, we're going to only move upwards. We have only a little bit more left for the so-called lower frequencies, even though I don't like calling it lower or higher. But I'm just going to say that that's where the things are happening. As I said before, you cannot skip the levels. Desire can become, in a way of like an opening for you to the higher level of consciousness. So when you get to the desire. So that's our next, where we're going to talk about it on the next podcast. is meaning of that if you are moving out of the grief or apathy and you begin to want desire, it's going to lead you into a frustration, which is going to turn into an anger. And then when we have anger and we're going to oppress the anger, we are going to feel even more confused. Every so-called negative emotion is that helps you to go to the next step on your ladder, in your next steps. It's not where we're going to escape it. And you need the anger before you can reach to the courage. So all of this is very, very important. So, and I'm going to talk about the 200 threshold, which is going to come up, but I'm just going to say it is not a moral line. It is an energetic one. Below 200 frequency, human actions are driven by ego, compulsion, fear. And often you're going to have a result that is in engagement or depletion. And everything is that above 200 frequency, this individual will simply start to shift towards the constructive and life-affirming behaviors. So all of that is very important, and what I'm going to tell you on the next podcast are extremely, extremely important parts for you. So, you see, it's and how does the frequency shift really, really feel like? The very early signs of you understanding that you have shifted frequency, you react less and you pause more. Then there are going to be synchronicities going to increase. You start to forgive for the old patterns. You start to sleep better and clarity arrives. And when it's going to be sustained shifts that you feel it's continuous, is peace becomes your baseline. You're starting to attract aligned people in your life. You're starting to flow. Things will come to you without you doing much. Fear stops driving decisions, and you're going to act from love, not from lack. And we're going to also talk about this when we are acting from love, not from lack, because we would think of one way of love, but it's a different. So these were the things for today, and then there is a very powerful exercise which I was hoping to fit into our today's podcast, but we are already here quite some time, and I've gone through the heaviest part, and now you'll be thinking, oh my God, where am I? Am I back to the beginning? But no, you are not back in the beginning or back at any of these things. I'm just explaining why these are important for you, and let's transmute it from here. As I said it, you cannot escape it and you cannot skip it. Just make yourself a promise today. I will no longer escape it. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to be in it. So that is for today. And of course, if you have any questions and if you have anything to share, feel free to do so. So as I said, this is the very first part of it, in whichever stage you are in it at the moment, it's don't skip them. Because if you are in shame and you want to be honest with yourself about whether you are, the very first move is not the meditation. Wow, why you say meditation? No, here is not what we do. And the first move is not affirmation. The very first move is to say the thing out loud to yourself, to a journal, to a person that feels safe. And like I said, try to find help, whether it's therapy, whether it's starting to write things down, connecting to it. Shame feeds on silence, and it survives in the dark. Remember that. The moment you say it, I feel shame about this specific thing, you have already started to dissolve it. Because shame says, I cannot be seen with this. And you just saw yourself with it. That's why one of the reasons why I love what I do. And not because of, I don't even know for what reasons, but what I love what I do is that when I see how the person transmute that energy into a next stage, and I know that, wow, they broke through this, now they're gonna go. And the fact that I don't always say everything out loud is not because I don't want to feed our ego. I want to let you connect to your higher self. And this is, like I said, when you're going to say to your shame, I cannot be seen with this. That is the first self-act of love, not a face mask, not a walk in the nature and all of that. And if you are in guilt, that's the same thing. Guilt that leads to a changed behavior is very, very powerful. But the guilt that is just sitting there and punishing you is a story of your ego is using to avoid the discomfort that is actually going to change you. And ask yourself honestly, is this guilt making me better, or it's just making me smaller? So this is what is over there in many levels. I'm looking forward to guide you through to the next levels and what's going to come there and what's going to happen. It's a heavy one, but it's needed. And I know that wherever you are right now, you're ready for the next stage. And remember, it is a frequency-based connection. You will not think your way there. If you are ready for your so-called union, then stick around. Anyways, what I have to say, 17th of May, we have a Patreon again. This month we have 3 sessions. We already had one and it's up on a Patreon. I'm going to post, I think, more on a Patreon as well, due to the fact that if the YouTube is still running the ads and saying I'm inauthentic, I would rather than share the deeper parts in Patreon. Of course, you can support always a Patreon if you wish. And we have our workshops every other Sunday, and the month of May we have 3 sessions. And then we are preparing our frequencies to go from highest form by the time Lionsgate arrives. And once the Lionsgate is over here, we're gonna have a beautiful event, and you can feel that, yay, I am ready to achieve the best of the best. And then yes, Italy retreat is happening right now. I don't know if we have a spot or we don't have a spot, depending on when I was recording this. So you can always, if you feel that Italy is calling you, you can always drop me an email. And Cyprus is at the end of November. We have 5 spots available. These are the things we are doing in the current state and current moment. I wish you a very beautiful day ahead or evening, wherever you are at. And remember, you are not alone. Just shift the frequencies. You can do that. And you are ready to become your higher self. Lots of love and lots of light.
We said goodbye, no clarity. I'm leaving now, are you blaming me? Radio silence, but I guess that's how it can be. was a process. Had to take a minute, overthink it, trouble sleeping, and return again. But someday I hope we won't be strangers.